I'm traveling across the frozen ice roads of northeastern Siberia, making my way to the Arctic Circle. This is the coldest inhabited place anywhere on the planet, where midwinter temperatures can drop to well below -60 degrees centigrade. Wish me luck. I'm certainly going to need it. This is Tough Trucks, Siberia.
Located in East Asia, 5,000 miles east of Russia's capital, Moscow, the very remote province of Yakutia is home to some of Siberia's toughest ice roads. Starting my journey from the provincial capital, Yakutsk, I firstly head north to join fuel trucks supplying the isolated village of Sebyan-Kyuyol, braving Yakutia's most treacherous ice road to get there.
It's really rough here. Are you sure we're not going to sink?
Returning to Yakutsk in a historic Soviet army truck, now used as a taxi, I continue my journey along the infamous Road of Bones, built at the cost of huge loss of life by prisoners of Stalin's Gulag. En route, I divert to the remote village of Topolinoe in order to catch a reindeer herders' festival.
Yeah! Yeah! Come on! Yeah!
Finally, I end my journey heading north on a tough goods truck, navigating a once totally frozen river that's melting all too fast in the spring thaw, threatening my ability to reach the Arctic Circle, my ultimate goal.
I think I can feel my feet getting wet.
Located beside the river Lena, which remains frozen for half the year, Yakutsk is by far the biggest city in the sparsely populated province of Yakutia, with around 300,000 inhabitants.
Yakutsk is the coldest city in the world, with an average midwinter temperature of nearly -40 degrees centigrade. Luckily for me, it's now early April and the winter is pretty much over. Today, it's a gloriously warm day in Yakutsk with a temperature of just -1 degree centigrade, as spring is almost in the air.
One small benefit of the extreme cold in Yakutsk is that throughout the long winter, the city's fish market can take place outdoors.
These fish just stay frozen in the open-air freezer. But as spring is upon us, this is only possible for a few more days.
As a result of the imminent thaw, the clock is ticking not just for the open-air fish market, but for Yakutia's truck drivers too. Siberia's frozen rivers will melt very soon, and since there aren't any bridges over the huge rivers up here, goods must be transported to rural Yakutia over the next few days, or delivery will have to wait for ages. As for me, if I'm to complete my own journey across Yakutia before the ice roads melt, I haven't got time to hang around in Yakutsk either, so I get on the road. From Yakutsk, I'm initially heading north, crossing the Lena River after 100 miles or so, en route to the village of Sebyan-Kyuyol, gateway to the remote mountains beyond. Once I get to Sebyan-Kyuyol, I'm planning to catch a ride on some of Siberia's toughest trucks heading up into the mountains. But first, I need to cross the 2-mile-wide frozen Lena River.
Every year, the ice roads across Yakutia's frozen rivers are closed by the authorities on or around the 15th of April, as the thinning ice makes the rivers too dangerous to drive across. Now, the 15th is just 10 days away, and as the weather's been quite warm this year, they could close even earlier.
So the annual rush is on. Either drive across the ice roads now or wait another 6 weeks for the ferries to start operating once the rivers are totally unfrozen and completely clear of ice. After happily making it across the beautiful Lena River, it's still another 3-hour drive across an unchanging landscape to Sebyan-Kyuyol village, which, with luck, we should reach just before sunset.
This is a gorgeous journey. If you like looking at white roads and trees, because that is all you're going to see. As far as the eye can see, distance is just seemingly endless. Forest, snow. Forest, snow.
By the time I wake up the next morning, weather conditions have changed significantly overnight. The residents of Sebyan-Kyuyol, a small village with a population of less than 500, are of course well used to the harsh climate here. Children grow up going to school on the back of snowmobiles and learn from an early age how to cope with the exceptionally cold winters here.
Hey, look at this. These big blocks of ice are their drinking water. There's no running water in this village, so they bring up chunks of ice from the lake, and they set them here all winter long, and when they need water, they just grab these chunks, bring them inside, and voila, water.
Despite being a small village, there are plenty of trucks based here in Sebyan-Kyuyol, since it's reachable by road all year long, and is a starting point of a well-used winter-only ice road leading up into the mountains. My plan is to catch a ride on one of the many fuel trucks based in the village, which travel the ice road daily during the winter in order to supply much-needed heating fuel to remote villages up in the mountains.
Sergey. Добрый день, I'm Zay. Nice to meet you. How's it all looking? Good? Ready for the long haul? Wow, this is a monstrous truck. It's huge.
Sergei Zabolotsky is probably the most experienced of all the truck drivers who use this ice road, having worked as a driver on this route for over 30 years. In the beginning, Sergei used to drive old Soviet trucks along this route, but now he benefits from driving a very modern 10-ton Russian Kamaz.
So these are good, solid Russian trucks, these Kamaz, huh?
Ну, вроде нормальные. Ну, больше нашего этого. Конечно, ломается. По нашей дороге постоянно ломается. А так, конечно, эта дорога, конечно, не как у других. Опасная, конечно. Но каждый рейс, конечно, каждый постоянно рисковая, конечно. Не угадаешь, что через час, через 2 часа будет.
The reason this particular winter road is considered one of the most dangerous in all of Yakutia is that most of the 100-mile-long journey runs along a frozen river, not alongside it, but right on top of it. For now, we're still driving on snow-covered dry land through the forest, but soon we'll be reaching the river where the real challenges will begin. As the spring thaw is already well underway, the ice on the river is starting to melt fast.
So, I mean, how much longer is this going to be able to be drivable? It looks really slushy already.
Ну, скоро закроется эта дорога. Вот сейчас мы второй рейс, ну, еще один рейс надо сделать здесь. Потом эта дорога закроется.
During midwinter, the ice on the river is as much as 10 feet thick overall, which, if it was solid, would easily support the weight of a heavily loaded truck. But the danger comes from the river ice freezing not as just one thick chunk, but in layers, with pockets of open water in between. Now that the thaw has begun, these holes under the ice are expanding, so the risk of us falling through the thinning surface ice into deep water is a very real one.
Она слоями вот так замерзает, поэтому вот машина проваливается. Бу-бу, блин.
But I can see it cracking along the sides here as we're driving over it. It's pretty much everything your mother and my mother told us all our lives never to do. Okay, this is really risky, feels like. Oh gosh, we're slipping, we're stuck. Come on. Oh yeah, wow. Okay, that was a little close. And if we do get stuck out here, people have frozen to death. Drivers have not come through when they've been in these situations.
Да.
It is scary that over the years, this road is said to have caused many fatalities. So, I do my best to keep in mind that most deaths caused by breakdowns or other accidents on Siberian ice roads occur in the freezing depths of midwinter. And of course, it's reassuring too that I'm in very good hands with Sergey, this road's most experienced driver.
We just went down easily 2 feet. It doesn't seem like you could drive on this, but somehow we are.
The tough drive across the melting ice goes on and on for hours. The long journey up the river from Sebyan-Kyuyol can't be rushed, and at a slow, safe speed, it takes us all day to cover the 100-mile distance to the remarkably similar-sounding village of Sebyan-Kyuyol, where the fuel is being delivered. In severe snowstorms, or when road conditions are especially bad, the journey upriver can take as long as 2 or even 3 days, so we've been really lucky today. To give thanks for our safe passage, Sergey stops, as he always does, at a traditional roadside shrine just before we reach the village.
Вот сама дерево приехали. Сама. Вот дерево.
That's cool. So it's a tree full of offerings.
Ага.
I see, mostly tea bags.
Сейчас выйдем.
Okay.
Выйдем туда.
All right, come. Oh, wow. Look at this.
Сюда.
We're
Wow.
offering some cigarettes.
Да, сигарет.
Apparently they like the cigarettes, huh? I don't even smoke, but if that's what they want. Well, it's freezing out here. Let's go get in there before we do die.
After heading on from the offering tree, our long journey is nearly over. It takes just another hour or so to reach Sebyan-Kyuyol village, but by the time we get there, darkness has well and truly fallen.
I hope these guys appreciate you bringing them all this fuel, because you certainly do make an effort to get it to them. This is not an easy task.
For Sergey, it's been a very long, tough day of driving on the ice road. But finally, the job is done, and we successfully arrive at the village fuel tanks where the fuel will be offloaded in the morning. The next morning, Sergey sleeps in, but not for long, as only a few days now remain before the ice road will close. The few hundred reindeer herders who live in this remote village totally rely on fuel brought here by drivers like Sergey for their heating plant, snowmobiles, and electricity generators. So it'll be a huge bonus if there's time for more fuel to be delivered in the next few days before the ice road melts, as after that, it'll be another 8 months until next winter before fuel deliveries can be trucked here again. As for me, it's also time that I get back on the road.
Had a great sleep in this homestay here, and I was really looking forward to taking a look around this village here. But I just found out there's a reindeer herders festival, an annual one that takes place in the next reindeer herders village just over those mountains there in a few days' time that I really shouldn't miss. The only problem is there's no direct road there. So I've got to take a really roundabout long trip back via Yakutsk in order to get up there if I want to make the festival in time. So there's no time to hang around. I've got to find a taxi. Добрый день.
Добрый день.
I understand you're going to Yakutsk?
Да, еду в Якутск.
Yeah, can I get a ride?
Тебя?
Can I ride in the back?
Возьму.
Yeah?
Здорово.
Thank you, I'm Zay.
Дима.
Dima, nice to meet you. This is a beautiful truck.
Да, ЗИЛ. 131.
Tell me about the Zeal.
87-го года выпуска. Вот это самая хорошая машина. Короче, легкая, не проваливается, едет мягко, короче. Вот армейские, военные, армии. Офицеры возят, офицеры.
Officers.
Фуражки.
So they actually sat in the back here and they were transferred around.
Офицеры там.
Aha. Oh, they
6 офицеров.
driving
Штаб,
around.
мобильный штаб, дом, короче, мобильный.
This is pretty awesome. And that's where I'll be riding, in the back?
Ну, заходи.
Yeah?
Давай.
All right, well, let's check it out.
О, хорошая, теплая. Теплая. Заходи.
Yeah. Oh, thank you.
Traveling along with me in the Zeal is a local family also heading to Yakutsk.
It's nice and toasty, huh?
Tough trucks like this old Soviet Army Zeal act as the only local taxis, since smaller vehicles simply can't cope with the hazardous driving conditions on the journey to Yakutsk. Our endurance is really tested on the long journey down the half-frozen river, and we have to put up with being thrown around in the back of the Zeal for over 8 hours. Thankfully, just when it seemed this toughest of tough truck journeys might never end, we finally make it to the end of the road along the rapidly melting river. A much smoother road lies ahead, and Yakutsk is now just a few hours away. After returning all the way back to Yakutsk in the truck taxi, I've still got a very long journey ahead of me in order to reach the Reindeer Herders Festival. To get to the festival and beyond, I'm back traveling in this lovely old Russian 4x4, driven by English-speaking guide Slava Mesnikov.
Slava, cool vehicle. What kind is it?
This is a Russian Was.
Was.
The weather has warmed up even more since I was last in Yakutsk, and the snow and ice are melting fast. Happily, however, the Lena River just outside Yakutsk is still frozen enough to drive across, and we're soon heading into the vast Siberian forest.
What year is this car?
This very car is 2007.
Really? It
Yeah.
looks like it's an old classic vehicle.
Yeah, and you know what? The design hasn't been changed since 1963.
That's wild. That was during the Soviet Union time.
Yeah, the same shape.
Same shape.
Different engine, all the rest is the same. And it's very popular here in Yakutia.
Why is it so popular?
Well, because, you know, we have very bad roads and very long distances between the villages. So you need to have strong and reliable car.
Our long journey in the Uaz from Yakutsk across the unchanging landscape continues all day towards the remote village of Tyoply Klyuch, where we're staying overnight, en route to tomorrow's Reindeer Herders Festival in Topolinoe.
Anyway, are we almost there yet?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Patience, my friend. Patience. Patience.
Patience, right, yeah, I heard that one before. Okay. Oh, know any good songs we could sing?
Do you know one?
99 bottles of beer on the wall. That should last us a good half an hour. 99 bottles of beer on the wall, 99 bottles of beer. Take one down, pass it around, 99 bottles of beer. Everybody! 98 bottles of beer on the wall, 98 bottles of beer. Take one down, pass it around, 98 bottles of beer. See where this is headed? 43 bottles of beer on the wall, 43 bottles of beer. Take one down, pass it around, 42 bottles of beer on the wall. One bottle of beer on the wall, one bottle of beer. Take one down, pass it around. No bottles of beer on the wall. Hey!
In the morning, before heading to Topolinoe in time to catch the reindeer festival this afternoon, we've got half an hour or so to spare to explore Tyoply Klyuch, which is great because Slava says this remote village played an important role during World War II, even though the nearest battles against Nazi Germany took place thousands of miles to the west.
This is the airport, huh? Where all the planes flown in from America.
The old airport on the edge of the village, it seems, was once a vital link in the so-called Alaska-Siberia transfer route, set up during the 1940s after the Soviet Union was invaded by Germany and joined the United States and the other Western allies in the fight against Hitler.
American-made P-39 and P-63 fighter planes for the Russian Air Force lined up at Ladd Field, Fairbanks, Alaska, on their 2,000-mile route from United States factories to Siberia. American and Russian mechanics checked the planes before the 500-mile hop across the Bering Sea. Planes and more planes head for Russia's eastern front via Alaska and Siberia.
So this is the actual route that was taken.
So it starts off in America, goes up through Canada, into Alaska, and then down through here.
Along the route, given the limited fuel range of World War II aircraft, lots of new airfields, such as the one in this village, had to be built all across the Siberian wilderness in order to get the planes to the eastern front of the war against Nazi Germany.
How many planes were taken over here?
Well, something around like 8,000.
8,000 planes, like bombers and fighters,
Yeah.
supplied to you guys. Wow. And how significant were these planes coming over to the outcome of the war?
Well, it was very important for Soviet Union at that time because when the war started in 1941, for Soviet Union, they didn't expect it from the Hitler. So the first year they, completely lost, and then the Soviet Union needed more planes to fight Hitler.
So these planes actually helped win major battles against Hitler, like Stalingrad.
Yeah, that's correct.
How amazing our countries were friends back then. We were helping each other out.
Yeah.
Sometimes it takes a common enemy to unite.
Yeah, it does.
I'd like to stick around to learn more about this remarkable wartime history, but we need to get back on the road as we've got a long journey ahead of at least 5 hours to reach Topolinoe, where the Reindeer Herders Festival is taking place this afternoon. Time is short if we're to make it to the festival on time, but the narrow, icy road heading there is especially slippery and treacherous, so we can't rush. And it's good we don't, because before long we come across evidence of what happens on these ice roads if you do rush.
some truck standing.
Whoa, that truck is hanging over the edge. That's not a good sight. So this is a real risk for us too.
It is.
We need to be very careful.
We do.
I mean, it's kind of good that we saw that, but I kind of wish I didn't see that.
Yeah.
Heading onwards, suitably chastened by seeing the truck accident, we drive extra carefully along the icy road as it winds past numerous sheer drops through a spectacular high mountain range. Hours later, we finally reach the small and very remote reindeer herding settlement of Topolinoe, located nearly 100 miles from the nearest village in any direction. Topolinoe's annual festival is taking place just outside the village, so we park before walking there. The monument here turns out to be a memorial to 3 Soviet pilots who died when their American-built plane crashed nearby in 1943 en route from Alaska to the front line of the war against Nazi Germany. Their crashed plane was found in the surrounding wilderness by local reindeer herders. With a population of just a few hundred, almost everyone in Topolinoe is involved in reindeer herding. And the annual spring festival to celebrate the end of the long, extremely cold Siberian winter is the most eagerly awaited day of the year.
This is the frozen river outside Topolinoe where they're holding their annual reindeer festival. And it is a gorgeous setting. Look at this.
To start the festivities, there's a big parade of reindeer along the frozen river. And then, without further ado, the day's main events follow almost immediately. Reindeer races that take place throughout the day over various distances, with prizes on offer for the winners of each race. At the end of the day, the reindeer herder who wins the most races is usually acclaimed as this year's champion. But as it happens this year, 2 reindeer herders win an equal number of races. So, a final unscheduled race is arranged.
All right, the race is on. This is the ultimate final championship. 2 guys have tied for first. Someone else said, no, I don't want that. I want a single champion. He's offering 2 of his own reindeer in a final race right now at 5 kilometers all the way down, around and back over here to see who is the ultimate champion this year.
10 minutes or so later, when the reindeer racers reappear in the distance, remarkably, they're so closely matched that after racing nearly all of the 5 kilometers, they're still side by side on the final run-in to the finish line.
Oh, it's neck and neck. Who is going to win? It's incredible, they're so close. They've just got around 5 kilometers. They're coming around. Don't tell me they're gonna tie again. Here's the finish line right here. It's hard to see, it's just in front of the stick. They are neck and neck and neck and neck. Look at that, literally. Whoa, who's gonna win? They went on the left. Wow, wow, so close. That's ridiculous. Ridiculous how close that was. That is, I mean, truly these guys are both champions. But the one on the left barely won by about a head, a reindeer head. This is what they win, this is the prize. Someone else threw in 2 more reindeer, so the winner gets 4. Wow, such sportsmanship all the way to the end. Ah. Champion! Champion! Wow! You did it! You did it! So fast! So fast! Wow! Champion! Champion! I have much respect for you. Keep it up, guys.
First thing next morning, we waste no time getting back on the road towards my final destination, the Arctic Circle. Having hugely enjoyed my time at Topolinoe's festival, however, I'm shocked to discover from Slava as we leave that like almost all other villages in this extremely remote and harsh region, it was originally established by Stalin's murderous Gulag system.
The system itself started to work in 1930s and stopped after Stalin died, which is 1950s. People were sent out to Gulag almost for nothing. For example, if you say something good about the foreign, let's say an American spoon was better than a Soviet spoon, you know, just eating usual spoon, you would sentence.
Really?
Yeah.
Shockingly, during Stalin's rule, millions of people were sentenced to hard labor in Siberia for such trivial political offenses. Many of them put to work, building new roads through the wilderness like this one. This old bridge near Topolinoe is one of many built by prisoners of Stalin's Gulag that still survive today, along the thousands of miles of road the prisoners built.
Why did Stalin need these roads built so badly?
Because he needed money and he needed to get all the natural resources out from the remote places.
So he was mining.
He was mining, yeah, gold, silver, anything which is valuable.
Most villages in this remote region today, like Topolinoe, were once the locations of prison camps to house the Gulag prisoners who built these new roads to Stalin's mines. Almost all of the hundreds of prison camps that once existed across Siberia have since been demolished, but out in the wilderness near Topolinoe, one camp still remains.
It's amazing it's still standing, huh?
See this?
Ooh, barbed wire. Careful.
Careful, eh?
Around 3/4 of a century after the prison building was last occupied, not much remains inside today.
Looks like they could have fit a lot of people in here, huh? How many do you think? I mean, I could see bunk bed frames.
Yeah, well, just by guessing, we have this one layer here and the second layer on top. And then another one there. So could be like, 25 here. So times 400 people.
100 people in this room alone, just packed
Yeah,
in.
and then you got the second room as well. So that's
So 200 prisoners in this one camp.
Yeah.
And how many prison camps were there along this road?
So every like 10 to 15 miles, you would have a camp.
You're kidding. That is a lot of prisoners.
It is a lot of prisoners. Yeah, and most of them are dying.
That's just really upsetting.
But that's history. That's the past. Yeah, by the way, I got some tea back. We need to give some respect to these guys.
I think that's the least we can do for their spirits.
Right. Let's go.
Yeah, let's get out of here.
As we continue driving along the so-called Road of Bones, built by the prisoners, Slava explains one of the main reasons why so many died out here. Stalin demanded that the roads to the mines should be built as quickly as possible, so prisoners were literally worked to death in winter temperatures, often well below minus 50 degrees centigrade.
And they had no time to bury them properly, so that's why it's called the Road of Bones. Because people will, imagine if a person dies in winter, minus 50, and the ground is solid frozen. You have nowhere to bury that person, so you just put him where the road's gonna be and put the road on top of that person.
This really is a graveyard we're driving over.
Yeah. It is.
That's pretty disturbing.
Prisoners who died out here were simply replaced by new prisoners who were also worked to death. As we continue driving for hours along the Road of Bones, it's truly shocking to think that every single mile of it cost huge numbers of lives. After driving all morning along the Road of Bones, we eventually reach the remote truck stop of Kyubyme, around halfway from Topolinoe to the village of Chumpukatil, where we're staying overnight en route to Khonu and the Arctic Circle, my final destination. Since the nearest fuel station ahead of us is at least 4 hours drive away, we must fill up at Kyubyme before driving on. After filling up with fuel, we get into a quick chat with a truck driver who's waiting around to fill up. As it happens, the driver has just returned from Khonu in the Arctic Circle. Unlike the asphalt Road of Bones, there are just winter-only ice roads up there. And as the warm weather means they'll be closing any day now, we get the latest news on how fast the ice roads are melting.
What are the conditions with the water levels?
Да, воды, да, воды много. Было воды вот так.
Knee high?
Да, главное, надо спрашивать у каждой машины. Что-то подозрительное лезть, увидели воду, не лезьте. Потому что печально может быть.
He says every time you see a truck coming or a car coming, you just stop him and ask, don't go into the water yourself.
By the sound of it, we haven't got any time to lose if I'm to have a chance of reaching the Arctic Circle, so we don't hang around. We've got a long drive ahead of us in order to get to the start of the ice road before nightfall, and it's clearly very much an open question whether the road will turn out to be passable for a smallish vehicle like the UAZ.
You think this vehicle can make it still?
As one would say, we are on the God's head or something like that.
Yeah, it's out of our control.
Yeah.
And let's say the water level does get too high for this vehicle. Are there still bigger trucks that are making the route?
Of course, because at this time of the year, we call it golden drive, which is, you know, the risk is very high, but you also get loads of money.
Despite the danger money on offer for driving on the ice roads so late in the season, very few truck drivers are willing to take the risk. So Slava reckons that as there's every chance the UAZ might not be able to make it, the safest option is to try to find a big truck willing to give me a ride as soon as we reach our overnight stop at Chumpukatil. We eventually reach the village of Chumpukatil just before sunset. Apparently, there's a popular truckers' cafe here where we should be able to meet some truck drivers in the morning. First thing in the morning, however, our UAZ is the only vehicle to be seen outside the truckers' cafe.
I don't see a single truck and not a single trucker. What do we do?
Well, you know what? It's obvious that the weather is changing quickly and the road's just getting worse. Drivers can be in a hurry, you know, they just pass by.
So it's possible there are trucks out on the route, they're just not stopping off here.
Yeah, could be. They got their food, they have their flasks with the hot tea, you know.
Yeah. Do you think we could radio some of them on the CB radio?
Yeah, I mean, it's possible. We can try the radio as well.
Yeah. All right, well, let's get going because this ice is melting.
На трубе, на индигирке кто-нибудь есть в сторону Момы? Прием, на трубе в сторону Момы кто-нибудь есть?
Nothing, huh?
Silence.
Darn it. You think they're just out of range or is just nobody out there?
Well, it could be out of range. Oh, could be nobody.
Still some time. Hopefully we'll see somebody or pass somebody on the road.
Yeah, hopefully.
Despite our best hopes, however, we don't come across a single truck that might be able to give me a ride. So, we've now got no choice but to carry on and see if the Uaz is tough enough to make it through the melting river water that apparently awaits us in the gorge. We drive on without any problem for some time, but before long, just as we feared, we find that the half-frozen river further up the gorge is indeed melting dangerously fast.
Whoa, look at this area here. We're gonna be able to get through this? Man, this looks really bad.
In fact, the risk of vehicles falling through the thinning ice is so high that Yakutia's rescue service has a tractor on hand to tow vehicles out in case of accidents.
All right, we're walking on eggshells here. I can hear stuff cracking. We've actually created a third different road over here. These other two are already broken through and slushy. Come on, come on, come on. This is really pushing our luck. Doing great, Slava. Almost there, almost there. Got to the worst part, almost there. Woo! That was rough. Oh my gosh, that was intense. High five. Woo, your hands are all sweaty, nervous, huh? That was crazy. I thought any second we were just gonna crack and fall right in. What do you think, man? This is like just the beginning of this tough area. Think we can continue or no?
I don't know, there's a guy sitting on a duty. I'll go and ask.
In the tractor? See what he thinks.
I'm crossing my fingers Slava will be able to carry on, but I have to admit, things aren't looking good.
Whoa. Gosh, this ice is just crumbling right under my feet here. You can see the open water. I don't know how Slava got across, but somehow he found a route just off to the side of the main road, and it was cracking under us. He did a really good job of concentrating and getting us across, but I can tell he's nervous, and I don't blame him, because I wouldn't want to be stranded out here or stuck in this water. What'd they say?
So I got bad news.
What?
This guy says that further down it's worse. So he says that I will probably not make it through. So he advises to wait for a truck.
All right, I understand. So we have to wait for a big truck to come by.
Yeah, well, sun is still a bit higher, so hopefully some will pass.
All right, well, so what do you want to do while we wait?
Haha.
Whoa, right there.
What time is it?
6:30. See anything?
No. Zay, there's a truck coming.
Help! Help! Save us! That thing's incredible, huh? You said yes?
Yes.
Ah, thank you. Спасибо. All right, let's go get my bag. Thank you very, very much. You're a scholar and a gentleman. I really appreciate all the help.
I hope I will get my money. They're better on you.
You bet good money on me.
Yeah.
I'll call you when I get to the top.
It's a real shame to have had to say goodbye to Slava, but at least I've now got a chance of reaching the Arctic Circle. Of course, if I'm to get there, first this big truck, on its last lucrative golden run, needs to tough it out and make it through the long, risky section of melting river that we've been warned about.
We've broken through the ice.
There's a real risk of a serious accident here. It might look as if we're driving on the bottom of the river, but we're actually driving on a deeper layer of ice, which of course is also melting. If the weight of our truck breaks through, we could suddenly plunge deep into the freezing waters.
Come on, you can do it. I cannot believe you guys do this on a regular basis. This is the golden run. Battling it out against nature, taking it on for the extra buck. Woo! For a moment there, I thought we were a goner. Nah, he said, hardcore. Oh gosh, we are pushing this ice, aren't we? We're just pushing the water, pushing the ice. Come on, come on. Wow. I have a newfound respect for these things. These are monsters. Unstoppable these are.
Eventually, just when I thought our long, wet slog through the rapidly melting river would never end, we make it through the most risky section and reach solid ice. Luckily, from now on, the river remains safely frozen all the way to my final destination, the small town of Honu on the edge of the Arctic Circle. The next morning in Honu, my long trip across Siberia on Russia's toughest trucks is nearly over. But there's one last thing I need to do.
From here in Honu, it's just a couple miles further north to the Arctic Circle, so my goal is within touching distance. But I can't seem to find a truck driving north out of here this morning, so I've got no other choice. I'm gonna have to walk. Nearly there. And this is it. This is the Arctic Circle according to this GPS. Oh, I've come a long way to make this happen, and I finally reached my goal, and I think it's time to celebrate. Stovia. Now I just need to find a way home. There's no trucks around here anywhere. Gonna have to exercise a little patience. Maybe start walking back.